I'm Kevin Maney, and I'm a co-author of Making the World Work Better, and I wrote the essay in the book on pioneering the science of information. One of the interesting stories that popped up that tells the story of both the evolution of technology, but also of the role individuals play, is the story of RAMAC, which is the Random Access Memory first disk drive, essentially. And at that time, the information was basically stored on punch cards in vast rooms, and it was very difficult to get to them. And the U.S. Air Force needed a way to get information very quickly and randomly and update it or change it. And this group that was the first people that really started the lab out in San Jose, led by a guy named Ray Johnson, just took on this task. And actually, they found it would be quite important to be very far away from headquarters because they could kind of do things their own way. And they started experimenting with things like spinning wheels of aluminum and putting magnetic charges on them. And they had to do some really interesting work to try to get this arm that would, within a split second, go into a disk and out to another disk. And finally, and they got made fun of for making something, because this thing was a big box of whirring disks that the people back at headquarters were making fun of them and calling it a bologna slicer. And finally, they made it work. Much trial and error, but they finally made this thing work, and it became essentially the model for what even the disk drive that's in your laptop today is based on what that RAMAC was back in the 1950s. The development of the RAMAC disk drive was not without its dangerous moments. There was one point when these aluminum disks were in there, and they were spinning at thousands of revolutions per minute. And at one point, one of the disks started to break apart while it's spinning, and it actually broke apart and spewed shards of aluminum throughout the lab, and it actually badly cut one guy's thumb and embedded in somebody else's arm. It was like they'd been in a bunker. And so they actually had to, from then on, agree that every time they tested one of these machines, they had to put it behind a wall of sandbags.